back on camera, and I'm excited to watch Sean
Yeah.
do this next trick. Quick question. I love this segment because this is the easiest thing to come up with stuff for because so many people walk in the drum shop. Hey, quick question, and you know that your answer is not gonna be quick. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just stopping in. They always look like they're in a rush. Oh yeah, quick question for you, and then they hit you with a bomb, and you're like,
Yeah.
as Sean says, qualifying them and trying to come up with like, okay, what's the best answer? How can I get to the point quickly?
Right.
The quick question for today, we've been hit with many, many times. This is a question that I had to revisit recently. Here we go. Quick question, guys. All right, I'm ready. How or where do I find a band?
Brilliant.
Okay, hold on a sec. That reminds me of another thing that I've been hearing a lot lately, and that is do you know any place that has rehearsal space that they can rent? Like
That's another one.
I've gotten that question a lot this week, so much so that I'm like, man, we need to freaking
open a rehearsal space.
Yeah,
we used to have one at our old shop, and
Yeah.
it was crazy, but everyone wanted the same slot. So it was like
Yeah.
it sat empty all day. And
Saturday
then those last
morning.
few hours, yeah.
But say that question again.
Where do I find a band? How do
Right.
I find a band?
Okay, yeah, that is not a quick question,
Yeah.
as I always say, but
Yeah, I recently just revisited this because basically I just stopped all of my projects like gigging out when I took over the shop about 2.5 years ago.
Right.
There's enough here. As Sean actually forbid me from dating.
I did.
In that time as well. He said, "This is too important, Adam. It's too important.
Yeah.
No distractions.
We got to get this done.
I did.
You
I said-
you live, eat, breathe, drum shop. Can be your only focus. This is my livelihood."
Yeah, I
That's
said you
funny.
need
Yeah.
to concentrate. Women are going to be a distraction. You're not allowed to date. I've since lifted that rule,
It's true.
but
It's true.
he hasn't done anything about it though. So.
I started with the band. I started with the band. The girlfriend will come later.
Right.
But it's really funny when you have to, start over because I was in bands like since I started playing in high school, like different projects. This person I met, this gigging, this to that. You know what I mean? But then you're cut off from it from a while. And it's almost like, oh shoot, like you said, you're not. You got to raise your hand and say, hey, I'm ready to play. And luckily through a couple teachers here, actually, I got a couple gigs. I'm doing a subbing gig tomorrow, playing downtown, and I got another opportunity with another band. We went out to see them, introduced myself. Started the networking thing again from my new perspective. But what do you say when someone's ready? We get students asking us this that just learned how to play. So that perspective is always fun. Like, how do I start my first band? And my follow-up question is like, well, do you have any friends? Which seems brutal, but that's how I started. So it's like,
Me too.
so my experience,
Yeah.
like,
I don't know. Did you start like in high school with your buddies in high school and start playing in a
I
band?
actually didn't. I was kind of lucky. My dad was a singer,
Right.
so there was that. But also, I did give myself the journey of playing in, you call them garage bands.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we didn't really have garages at home or
Right.
garages, as they say in Ireland. We were in
Car
people's
hole.
We're in
lounges.
America. Let's
Yeah,
We
come
call
on.
them
People
car
can't
holes.
understand what you're saying.
yeah, keep it real. We were in lounges, front rooms of houses, gardens,
Yep.
sheds. So I was obsessed with drums from the start. So I would play anywhere. So while I was doing the thing with my dad, which was a serious thing, we were going out and doing shows for people, weddings, functions, wearing
Sure.
tuxes,
Yeah.
doing it proper. I still wanted the rock and roll experience and grow as a drummer. So I've played with hundreds of bands, and it would be, he drums, he has a drum kit. Sometimes it was because you had a car. You got your license first.
That's how it starts out.
You had a
You were
guitar.
absolutely right.
And we'll go
That's
to
it.
the drummer's house because he doesn't drive yet.
That's it.
Well, I was driving and had drums, and you could come over to my house. So people it was two ways. I went to them, they came to me. And it worked out, didn't work out. There was always a member that didn't work out. There was a member that didn't. We'll call them members.
Yeah.
A personnel who didn't show up.
Yeah.
And so people get disparaged really quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to go back to the question, to me, it's like if I was asked this question today.
Yes. Today, right now,
And
how do I find?
And
a
you
band?
were asked today. I mean,
Yeah.
I still live in the 80s, but it's kind of like approaching it to singing. So I want to sing in a band, and I sing a bit, but I'm a much better drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Much better drummer. But I'm a decent singer, but I'm a much
Okay.
better drummer. And so I say, well, so we are talking drums, but let's say
Yeah,
it's like
let's say
singing.
it's same thing. You're
How
looking for a
well
band.
do you sing? Because you can't just say, I want to be in a band. I mean, you deserve to be in a band. You're trying drums. You should try to be in a band.
Yeah.
You should. The Beatles did it. Genesis did it. Everyone, Led Zeppelin, everybody we love did it.
Yeah.
But some of them were born and developed talent really early. So my point is, how well do you sing? How
Yeah.
well do you drum?
Where
How
are you in
good
that
a
journey?
person are you? I mean, I'm not expecting you to have a fully fledged personality at 16.
Sure.
However, how well do you sing? Because that's a distraction and it's not an attraction if you show up and you're croaking.
Yep.
So you have to, what are you bringing?
Yeah. Are you ready?
Are you ready? Or is everybody ready to just make a joyous noise in a garage
Yep.
and not be annoyed about it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that was a downfall of mine. I took it all too seriously. I treated every band
Well, you
practice.
started out with a pro gig.
I know. Yeah,
You did
but-
it out of order.
Yeah.
I know. I was still a bit. I was still a bit tense, to be honest with you. And I know
Yeah.
that now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 50 now. I know.
Sure.
I took it really, and it was said to me, and
yeah.
I apologize to
Yeah.
those guys. I said, come on,
Yep.
we got to be early. We got to be on time. So we have to answer these questions to these guys and have to try and help them.
Right.
I say, go home and develop yourself a bit. And networking to me is huge.
Massive.
And now it's a lot
Huge.
easier to network too.
Yeah.
So my answer would be
Yeah.
put yourself out there. It's like, how do I get into a band? Put yourself out there. There's so many different, so with social media and all that kind of stuff, it's so easy to kind of put yourself out there. But what, Aaron is saying here is, where are you in that journey? Are
Right.
you ready for that pro band?
You got to be
You
ready
think
to
you
put
are?
yourself
Yeah.
out there.
But sometimes you have to fail to know where you are.
Oh,
too.
sure. Oh, my God, yeah.
I thought I was way better than I was back then,
Yeah.
and now I know I'm not that good.
Yeah, I was too tense.
Your
realize that,
audience has a contribution.
Can I add to this?
Yes.
I've noticed too nowadays, especially.
I will
you
repeat what
open
he
mic
says
nights.
momentarily. Open mic nights.
Go out to an open mic.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
and
it. Networking.
Participate in that because there's plenty of other musicians out there that are doing the same thing you're doing, trying to get
Mhm.
to know other people.
That's a good way to
But it's-
to meet other musicians is at an open mic night. And we get a lot here. Tons of drummers coming in looking for a band. It's like
Yeah.
you should be going to the guitar shop.
Yeah,
You shouldn't be going to the drum
yeah,
shop.
that's a good point.
It's
Yeah.
great to talk to other drummers.
Yeah, you're gonna
But
take the
how many
drummers.
drummers are in each band?
That's a good
You know,
point.
it's a simple mathematics problem here, guys.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's the conversation. I mean,
It is.
music stores where
It is. It's
you
they're
could
hubs.
converge and hear things and find out what you're doing and you're
And then
doing.
the gigs that come out of that are recommendation gigs. Like both these gigs that I got, other drummers were asked to do it, or they're trying out a drummer here and then get on that
Yeah.
And it's kind of that it's not the thing for me, or I can't take this on right now. You get those referral gigs, but usually to get that type of gig, you have to have some track record. You have to have some
Yeah.
recording of you. You have to have some sort of the other drummer has to be confident in your abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But starting out, okay, now I'm ready for my first band. That's a different thing. Open mics are a great place to go get your feet wet. I remember I went to an open mic and it wasn't even set up for drum set or anything like that. And I just played a cajon. And just I showed up with the instrument.
Right.
I didn't sign up. And
Right.
people asked me to play with them. And then I
Because
met
you put
some
yourself
people.
into that position.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone asks like, how do I get started? And there is no quick answer to that. It's just getting started. It could be
Yep.
the start.
do something.
Making up a
Anything.
flyer could be it.
Just do something.
Going to open mic. Going to the local music store and talking with people. So there's
Yep.
no right or wrong way to do it, but it's just a
Right.
matter of putting the first step forward wherever that step leads you is okay, because at least you're taking steps.
Yeah, that's well said. I think you got to network and develop yourself
Yes.
at the same time.
Right.
Not one or the other.
Right.
You can't have super chops and not have people experience.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You have to have people
Gotta have
experience.
both.
And the open nights, I'm not crazy about them. However, I will say, you meet people who are writing original music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets very special. That can be baptism.
Yep.
So I'll say, go to the open mics and seek the
Yes.
person that's writing music.
Yep, and that might, I mean, even the direct result of that might be, okay, this isn't the room for me, or this isn't the town for me, or this these guys are. This is just, you can very easily assess if it's just a bunch of people who their only goal is to play here at open mic night, and if your
Yeah.
ambitions are bigger. A big thing that I heard a while ago, and I love this perspective, is ambition is measured by action. It's
Yeah.
not what you say you're going to do. It's what
Yeah.
you're actually doing.
Yeah, that's where
So-
I live. I live in that space.
That's it.
And
Proactive, pushing constantly. That's what we try to do here at the shop, is just always be reaching forward, taking on more, just slightly more than we think we can handle, and
Yeah.
rising to the occasion.
if you take someone's number, call them. You know, I have very few regrets, but there's one or two. I just didn't get around to calling them or being there. And then, yeah, a couple of them went on to do amazing things, and some of them I never heard.
Right.
Nothing realized. So now I'm like, I remember years ago I got a call from a guy called Jerome Marcus, and we're involved in Drummer Universe, which is
Okay.
this Facebook page.
Yeah.
100,000 drummers on there, and Jerome's an industry guy,
Okay.
and he called me one day to tell me about a Vic Firth education thing that was happening in London. While I'm on the phone to him, I'm like booking a flight. And it's only
Yeah.
from Ireland to the UK, but and he
Sure.
said, "Oh, really? I'll be there."
Yeah.
And I actually think it was a Wednesday or a Thursday. I said, the following week, I'll be there. Well, I go, well, Vic Firth is there.
Yep.
And I'm part of the Vic Firth education program. And I signed with them years ago. And here it is. It's a teacher conference. There's 100 drummers there. And he flew from Boston to recognize them. He's talking about this particular dude. And I'll show it to you again because
Yeah.
I just found it today. And here he was giving awards to all of us for what we did. Now, had I not flown, I'm like, and that's a major example of following up, following through.
Yes.
And it's not the result of the reward. I did something. I made an effort at my own cost.
Mm-hmm.
I went there. Vic was there. I got to see him, got to thank him, you know. So, you know, follow up, because you just don't know what it could be. There are
Yeah.
people out there writing amazing music right now.
Yeah.
I'm collaborating with people on TikTok, Instagram, some through Facebook, amazing guitarists, amazing writers from around the world. And it's just about, dude, who are you? Because your playing is amazing. And then they might see my drumming, but the music conversation's what's important. You know, just chatting about, well, what are you up to? What are you looking at? I'm not looking to do anything. Okay, cool.
Right.
You can still stay connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You-
it. And you
it's
never
not
know
about
when
force. Yeah.
someone's going to recommend you. We talk about that. We have had a couple guys on here who did a lot of touring and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, not just staying in the van until your next gig.
Right.
You know what I mean? Any chance you get with other bands, with other crews, you know, that turns into, someone can call you up that you might not have forgotten about, quite frankly, or they recommended you for a gig, and you have to find out later that it was this person that I hung out with after the gig in this
Yeah.
town at that year.
A good person that's
Of
solid.
course.
Keep solid. Keep your chops up.
Yes.
Be organized.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a miracle.
Right.
You just have to be present and be a good dude, and still have your own standards and talent and how you like to do it, and make your choices. And that's how some of the biggest bands in the world were formed, by answering an ad. It's a bit old, but it is real.
It's
hey,
Time tested.
I'm
True.
a guitarist. I heard you want to look, and I'll share that. Right now, where I'm living in Pennsylvania, there's no gigs, and I have an amazing drum life. I'm very grateful for it. There are no gigs.
Well, it's different now because, you know, it used to be you needed those gigs to do things, but now with your TikToks and your Instagrams, and
Yeah.
now you can put your drumming out there
Yeah.
in different ways.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to, you know, the music business has changed.
It's
you know.
beautiful. I don't have a million followers, and I'm so fortunate that the companies that you represent here support me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still
Everyone's
the
changing.
19-year-old guy from Ireland. I still every day self-check
Yeah.
and say, wow, this is amazing. Like, very, very lucky. So you can create your own little life. Another thing I'll share with your viewers is I lived in Nashville for 5 years. I did one gig
Wow.
as a professional drummer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My choice. You know?
How
You
many
would-
people did you meet there?
Oh, phenomenal amount of people. I will say that. I mean,
because that's where
almost
the
everybody's there.
there's a lot where there's a lot of attention. You know, that's like an analogy I'll use right now is you know, Instagram, like because you mentioned it, is like, yeah, that seems so obvious for everyone. Oh, we got to get on Instagram. Well, it's all supply and demand, and right now the supply is through the roof. That it's hard to get anything out there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you go to Nashville with the intent of gigging and making it big in your country
There's so
band,
many.
like the supply of that is here.
Yeah.
Not saying that's not the proper thing to do and you won't learn anything from it or whatever, or you might not make it. You know, people make it. I'm
Yep.
not saying that couldn't be you. It could be you. But I'm just saying if that's your only goal and intent there, like I'm selling everything, I'm moving there. It's like, you know, you might be setting up yourself for an unrealistic outcome.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
if you also say, I'm going to try that, do all that stuff, but every time I play or go to see a show, I'm going to meet someone new, that's going to reward, you
Yeah.
know, you're going to get so much out of that no matter what happens with your career.
Yeah, you can't have one goal because it'll be on your back.
Yes.
It'll just be on your back, like rucking around. You're just rucking. It's not. It's honestly not the way to do it. And I've seen abundance of talent in Nashville. I mean, in 5 years, I never witnessed a bad band. And I've been all over the world. I've been in bars all over the world, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get out of here. But Nashville, not once. That's testament to the talent
Yeah.
Sure.
that is there. The female singers, the male singers, the guitarists, the drummers, they're all fantastic. And many of them are trying to take a bite out of the same thing.
Right.
And many of them some I coached and helped, and you know, it is depressing, it's deflating when you make such a big move to another place in the world.
Yeah.
And you know, it is the right place to be. The songwriting, the publishers, it's all there.
Yep. Everything's
Yep.
there.
But when you have so many people converging in the same space,
All doing
it
the
takes a
same
lot
thing.
to break through.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to break through, and you should do it. If someone's watching this and wants to do it,
Right.
you should do it. Some of my students are there. They're downtown playing gigs.
Yep.
They're working on their chops. They're learning how it is. The industry is not really an industry anymore. You can self-release.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's tough. And when I say I did one gig, I did a gig. It was very good. I got paid, and I made a decision to have a different Nashville experience.
Yep.
I had an amazing 5 years. I have no regrets.
Yeah.
I can say I'm from Ireland. I lived in Nashville.
Uh-huh.
I did a bunch of all sorts of stuff, even being part of a campaign where they were shutting down home studios, the city.
Oh wow.
So I didn't champion it. I was part of the effort
Okay.
to get the city to see sense that why would you shut down home studios when this is the way we can do things now? And I didn't get anything from it. I just decided to show up and help, and part of the SEE Institute in Nashville, and we worked hard along with others who had their studios shut down, costing them their livelihood.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that even happened.
I had no idea.
So I was part of that movement. So I did other things in Nashville that made me happy.
Yeah.
I drummed every day. I taught every day.
That's great.
And
That's
it was
great, man.
So the short story there is just do your own journey, because you can come in here and get a kit and
Sure can.
get hooked up with software. And it's like I thought your question was going to be, how do I record drums? Which is, but you can do it at home.
That's another one. That's
You-
going on the list.
Oh, you
but
can
yeah,
do it.
You
You
can.
can do
Quick
it.
question.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
but
another one.
forming a band is not like a movie.
Right.
It's not like a fairy tale.
No.
It's, you know, I've often been the 17th drummer in something, and the drummer before did it this way, and I found that I understand where you're coming from, and they want to talk about the breakup.
Yeah.
I just kind of try to, well, I'd like to think you kind of like me and like how I play, and I
Yeah.
will play the parts.
Yeah.
So again, there were things that made me decide that maybe I don't want to do that. And my final thought on it, and I'd love to know what you two guys think, because we're being so open. I don't really like to audition. And it's not my age or experience or even how I play.
Yeah.
I haven't auditioned that much in my life. And I do think it's important.
Right.
It's a real weird thing for me to say, you should audition, but I shouldn't. That's
For sure.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit under the weather. I'm
you're
sorry.
all
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of who's
Is
this
it
guy?
is it a pressure or is it just
No,
all
I
of the
don't.
unnecessary? You think it's unnecessary?
I don't feel any pressure. And that's not even a confidence. It's just a clarity.
yeah.
Because I'm not going to catch fire. I'd just be a terrible drummer and not get the gig. It's okay.
And that's it.
I help people with that. It's okay to,
Yep.
Well, I think I just feel like if somebody calls Sean, they already know he's got this pedal 25 years and he's a good, very, very good drummer.
Yeah.
Like Sting doesn't audition drummers. That may be a dream gig for me, which I'm not going to get.
Or
But I-
you might get it because of this podcast.
I was told-
Sting actually watches.
I was
big fan of Drum Key.
we'll get it to him. I heard that years ago, and he just likes to do this.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm good. Yeah, with drummers,
Do you wanna,
Omar,
do you want to be? Yeah.
Manu,
Vinny?
yeah. I saw Vinny catch up with him years ago, and I just happened to be there, and they hadn't seen each other for a few years, and they just rehearsed. And it's just, I know Vinny's amazing, but he doesn't audition drummers per se. He
I
doesn't
didn't know
audition,
that. That's awesome.
and I was like, maybe we could all do that.
Yeah.
Not, I know auditions are important. Like if you're going to do a big show or a cruise, there is chemistry, and you need to
yeah.
know. But I'm not saying let's get rid of auditions.
Yeah.
I just feel like finding a band, finding personalities. It shouldn't be an interview.
Right.
It should be, like I know us three could do lots of other things
Sure.
already. 'Cause
Yeah, you get more out of the. I agree with you. I haven't
Yeah.
heard this brought up in this frame of mind, but I agree with you, and I think that the things that make a great band, if you're in the position that you're talking about going on tour, like you said, Sean's been playing for a while.
Yeah.
If you're in a position that you're willing to do the gig, all you need to know is if this works.
Yeah.
And
The-
you can get so
yeah.
much out of talking with people and then play together, whatever, but I think the formality of it is unnecessary.
I think someone could fact check it as they.
Sure.
I think it's how Josh Freese got the gig with Sting.
Oh really?
He was at a gig, and they chatted,
Mm-hmm.
and I think kind of Sting said, "I'll see you at rehearsals or whatever." I
Wow,
think Josh
okay.
is phenomenal.
I would, yeah.
I mean,
would love
there's
if
that,
story
and he
was
would
true.
have, he would have had an idea of his reputation for
Sure.
sure. And-
Right.
but they're talking.
But he
like
didn't
this.
have to say learn these 12 songs and meet me this day.
Yeah, I like
No.
when bands are like that. I mean, of course, now the Foo Fighters, we're kind of going, but these are bands who have done the thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, Sting did Slumber for a minute with complete, and then, but the Foo Fighters did the van thing. They all did that thing,
Yeah.
They sure did.
and it's hard. It's really hard. So the question is, are you gonna try and stuff your kit into your mom's car or a rented car? Are you gonna go that little bit extra out,
Yes.
of your comfort zone to be in the band? Because once you form the band, that's not even the work yet.
Yeah, you're just getting started.
Yeah.
And you can tell that from a conversation.
Yeah, see, this guy's just not gonna. Can you be there at 10? Can I be there at 11? Straight
Yeah.
away, you're like,
Yeah, you start
Yep.
feeling it.
I told you I'd be here
Yeah.
on time, and you want to see me watching the dash on my
Yep.
phone.
Oh, I know.
I-
You checked your
I-
watch as soon as you walked in the door.
Did I?
You did.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a bit. I would hate to be late, and it's our first time meeting, first
Right.
time doing this. It would be okay, because there's
traffic
fog,
was
and
bad
I
or
drove an
whatever
hour and a
else,
half,
you know?
which is no big deal to me at all. I'd drive 20 hours to do this, for real, and my wife would tell you that I would. But I think you need those. There's probably a checklist we should create. There has to be.
And it would be so much
Denim
easier.
jacket.
Yes.
Converse,
Yep.
Irish accent, then you're sorted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
That's it. the checklist is just describing.
yeah, but
It's
I
just-
want people to keep forming bands,
Mm-hmm.
and I try and hook people up all the time. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest with your viewers and everybody, the breakdown at any level. Okay, you want to create an album. This guy in London is a great piano player, and the piano player didn't reply, and it's not happening. And it's like, man, but you're over
Yeah.
you said you won't work.
Right.
So, just put it together. And then if that's not working, put it together yourself. A lot
Yes.
of great drummers put their own
Yep.
bands together. A
Yep.
lot of bands were put together by the person who really wanted to do it.
Yep.
And only they know how they're going to do that, whether it's ads or
Yeah.
talking on Facebook. But use it all and
Yeah.
then filter it.
Of course. That's
Filter it.
good.
Got to filter it
Filter
because
it.
otherwise, yeah, I've been in a few goofy bands and stuff. It's just, hey, we put 4 personalities in a room. Everybody thinks they know what they're doing.
Right.
And that's where the manager got invented because he has a different vision.
Yeah, and he kind of
He doesn't play. He's not distracted by twirling the sticks or what us guys do or what anyone does. He's like, no, we need to. So that's another good piece of
Another
advice.
role.
If you have something existing right now, bring a couple of other people around that can.
Yep. And it's just like we were talking about with,
solid.
to make a parallel with instructions and having someone else or even the drum tech thing, that other person that sees what's going on.
Yeah.
And as long as you develop a good relationship with them, when the opportunity comes where you ask for that advice and that opinion, you're going to get a straight answer. 'cause they've
Amazing
been
things
studying
can happen. Amazing things do happen.
those small tweaks too. It can be the
Yeah.
smallest thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I was into martial arts for years, and excuse me. If you watch some of these guys who do the corner for guys, whether it's whoever you like, they're looking at the contest. They're looking at the opposition. They're looking at
Yeah.
some guys are able to walk into a venue and just, I know how we're going to make money here. I know what you need to do in rehearsal, and I rehearsed with many bands over the years, and we've wasted a lot of time. Do you ever do that in a
Sure.
band?
Oh,
You
God,
just-
yeah.
You
kidding
burn
me?
a lot of time. I'm watching guys outside
Oh, my
smoking,
God.
and I'm inside practicing a drum solo. It's just we're wasting time.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be the downer. I'm not trying.
No,
to,
you're
being-
spot on.
It's
You are
realism,
spot on.
and I'm just resonating with everything you say. That's
You
why
know.
my neck's getting stiff. I'm just nodding.
Well, I'm just
Everything you
like
say.
I care about this so much, and I see
Yeah.
I've watched guys, and I'm like, oh my god, these guys are
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like, they're just so focused.
Yeah.
Like I played a couple of shows with friends of mine in Ireland. They're called God is an Astronaut. They're instrumental, and we're the same age. And I've watched them since we were kids. Just be so focused, and they have the exact music life that they want. Lloyd, also the drummer, great drummer. I like to mention good people, give them
course.
credit.
Yeah,
When other
of
people
course.
don't mention, I'm all about that. Like we talked about, there's people
All day
out there
long.
nobody mentions them.
All day long.
Lloyd Hanny's a great drummer, and I sat in for him, and it was a pleasure. And I watch these guys. They're twin brothers, and they're so focused. You have to check them out. And their show is awesome, and their dad was a great visionary and a great manager. So and a
There's
great,
that perspective.
yeah, and he was a great musician in his day, similar to my dad. Guided me. So maybe before you form the band, go to that person and ask them. Local, even
Yeah.
come into you guys.
Yeah.
I know that's how we started this question.
It
But
is.
say, listen, hey, yeah, the open mics, all that stuff. But how about we go another level? Get your chops down. Get yourself a good setup, because if you get the call, you don't have to have drum mics and stuff like that. Just have a good rig. Rehearse putting it in and out of your car.
That's
No,
Gotta do that.
clean your pedal.
Yeah,
Well, you
clean
have
your
to know how
pedal,
it fits
Sean.
because you don't want to like get your drums all ready to go and it doesn't fit right, or your
Well,
your hardware case
yeah.
doesn't fit into your car.
This is all the easy stuff. It's the due diligence easy stuff.
Easy stuff that means a lot.
Huge.
Because by the time it gets bigger, there's people that will take over. There are people who have become overnight sensations and they don't know what to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would be the same
And
if I was suddenly
Yeah.
mega. Well, there are people that will handle it because they're going to get paid, but they're experts. And they're the
Right.
people I love that do audio visual, that do lighting,
Yep.
that do logistics. I love the guys, like, I always try and befriend the truckers.
Yeah.
I was at a thing at The Rock here some months ago.
Yeah.
And I try and, when I say befriend, have a conversation with those guys. I watched this guy reverse a truck in that had wardrobe for The Rock, for a production over there. And I'm like, this guy's amazing. As soon as he got out of the truck, he's got the headset. He just
Yeah.
looks like
he's the
business.
pro. Yep.
I had to have a conversation with him. Well, it turns out he's driven trucks all over the world in temperature, storms.
Yep.
And
And
he
he's
ha-
going to get you your next gig.
Well,
Network with everyone, man. I'm telling you.
those guys have lots of layers to them.
Absolutely.
They speak different languages, and there's just special people out there. And so if you're putting anything together,
Yes.
You should talk to a couple of other people outside it. That
Outside
could maybe,
that circle.
The guy driving the
That's
truck,
maybe
the
how-
guy bringing
That's
in
a
the
great way.
equipment,
That's a
the
great
guy
way to start.
doing the lights.
I think so.
That's a great way to start. And putting projects together. Certain people are that way. I find myself being the one, and I talked to Sean about this, that I'm like, I just want to be the drummer. Can I just be the drummer?
Yeah,
but I
not the
always
organizer.
find myself like, okay, move this piece here, move that,
Right.
which works out great for the shop. But I'm always doing that, and then I'm just like, but I don't want to be the guy that does this always. But you would be great with this person, and it's just that I'm
That's
good
how-
at I'm
that's
good
how
at
we're
backing
wired.
out, zooming out, which is really good.
Drummers are, organized. We have to be there a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Even the worst drummer in the world, unless he just doesn't show up, will be there at least on time for him
Right.
Yeah.
to get his gear in.
Yep.
Now I'll be early, and I'll be up in 17 minutes, and then I'm waiting for Murphy's Law. That's just
What's
the
gonna
way.
go wrong?
And I enjoy that. It sounds
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
You enjoy the challenge.
I
Like,
enjoy being
okay.
on time, and I like someone
Yeah.
to say, "Wow, this guy's transformer done."
Yeah.
I know the set, whatever.
Yep.
And still stuff happens, but even the drummer who's a little bit not part of the magic circle, shall we say? And there's not that many of them, because that's what I think we are. We're the magic circle. Only we give our tricks away. That's how
right.
I see drummers.
That's all we do all day
we
long.
just share whatever. Borrow my snare here.
That's it.
Yeah. Whereas the magic circle are very secretive. So I think we're that kind of
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
But there are, of course, the exceptions where they're not that great. But they're even going to show up and get their gear in.
Yeah.
But the knock-on effect is just stress.
Yeah.
He's late, I'm late, and then it becomes a trend.
Yep. And then he was the second drummer, and you were the 13th drummer,
Yeah, and then they kill me.
and they tell you about him.
they tell me about They
All
tell me
right,
about
let's
him.
jump in. We have one more episode. We have one more segment where we.
Great.
I have a couple of specific questions about your journey and things that you're doing now.
Sure.
So I want to get into that. Let's go to Between the Ply.